behalf of the Theosophical Society and on behalf of our president, Mr. Tim Boyd, I extend a warm welcome to all of you for this Wisdom for Living series of monthly programs. This is our 27th program. We have been conducting programs every month except during the month of December when we have our yearly convention. This Wisdom for Living series of monthly program, this caption was told by Mr. Tim Boyd to conduct this because he felt that wisdom is beyond ageless wisdom. So wisdom has to cover every facet of life that includes so many aspects of life, right from our body, mind, our health, etc. So we have had speakers in the past, right from psychiatry to psychology to astronomy to body health to obesity to feng shui to spirituality to communication to organic farming. And there are so many aspects of it we have covered, and yet we are yet to cover a lot of aspects in the coming months. I think we should be able to take up one by one. This is the first time we are taking up a topic on theosophy, and our friend Mr. Agnihotri, Shikhar Agnihotri is going to give a talk about wisdom of the truth. Wisdom for the Truth by Mr. Shikhar Agnihotri. I met Shikar about 2 years ago, and the first time I met him, I was very surprised. I asked him, at 40, how did you leave your job and then come here to serve in the Theosophical Society when you're not going to get paid as much as you are going to get in any commercial firm? And this is the answer I got. Arjuna, it seems, that during the Bhagavad Gita times, he was given this talk of this Bhagavad Gita. It happened when he was around 20 years of age. Now I'm already late, he told me. That's the kind of person Mr. Shikar is, so no wonder. And he has been born in a theosophical surrounding. His mother was a theosophist. And since his birth, he has been acclimatized to theosophy, spirituality, and all that. So no wonder he's here sitting in front of us. Mr. Shikhar Agnihotri. Mr. Tim Boyd is our 8th president of the Theosophical Society, and he is here today. I'll just tell you in a few words how I joined the Theosophical Society. See, people come to Theosophical Society, and I was the general manager for a while, sometime about 5-6 years ago. People come here and they start off talking to me as if they want to become a volunteer and they can do work, and they are accustomed to doing some managerial work and all that stuff. So when we try to find out what exactly is what is going on in their mind, I find out that they need a walking pass. So generally I turn them away, because when we ask them this question, how many hours can you volunteer every day? They'll start thinking, oh my God, I should not commit anything, or commitment should not be done. So once a week or twice a week, thrice a week like that, I say, no sir, it doesn't work. We have to be here all the time. So people have left their jobs like Shikar, and it's really proud for me. In fact, there are so many people like that. Nancy, Maria, there are so many people who have left their cushy jobs to serve in the Theosophical Society. Mr. Jayakumar, Geeta, there are so many people I can see, and I'm really very happy that I've joined the Theosophical Society when I was 52 years old, and that was about 15 years back. It went like that. I was not liking my contractual job. I was an entrepreneur in the field of turnkey interiors for corporates. I was doing that for about 30 years. So when I was 52 years old, I just happened to come along with my brother-in-law to the Theosophical Society, wherein I met Keshwar Dastu, the then international treasurer of the society. Then I was talking to her. I was wanting to give up my contract job. So I asked her, is there any opening for me? She asked me this question, what is your background? I said, I'm an electrical engineer. Can you do maintenance work? She asked me. I said, I can do maintenance work, and my passport says I am an electrical maintenance engineer. I got my passport when I was working in Bombay. So then she immediately took me to the president, the then president, Mrs. Radha Bania. So Radha Bania asked me the same question. What is it you want to do, and how is it you can help? I said, I can help in maintaining the old buildings, and I'm fond of maintenance, and maintenance has been my passion, and that's what I am. Although I do erection and commissioning these days. I am basically a maintenance guy. Then she told me, can you join as a maintenance superintendent here? I said, yes, I can. She asked me when you can join. I said, the next day. That was September 13, 2010, and there was no looking back. I've been here since about roughly close to 15 years. Now, I was parallelly connected with Ramakrishna Mutt also. There I have done quite a lot of works, including the 3D theatre, 4D theatre, their bookshop, library. There's so many aspects of it I've covered. I even did some proofreading for them. I'm fairly good in doing this, comparing this and all that. So that's how I'm here in the Theosophical Society. I saw the objects of the Theosophical Society, so which I want to say, because I have to give an intro about the Theosophical Society also for those people who are coming here for the first time. So the objects of the Theosophical Society are to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood without the distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, and color, and study of comparative religions, and study the latent powers hidden in ourselves. And the founders were Helena Petrova Blavatsky and Henry Steele Olcott from Russia and US respectively. Annie Besant, as a lot of people understand, that she was the founder of the Theosophical Society. No, she came much later. But she was instrumental in buying a lot of acres of land. Although the primary founders bought only about 15 acres of land with the money, all the money they had was only to buy about 15 acres of land. Today's speaker, Mr. Shikhar Agnihotri, is going to talk about wisdom for the truth. About the speaker, I'll just tell a few words. Shikhar Agnihotri has a Bachelor of Nautical Science, Mumbai University, India. He worked in the merchant shipping and retired voluntarily after 10 years in the shipping service to shift the focus from external journey to the inner journey of knowing oneself. He came into touch with Theosophy due to his mother, Mrs. Vasumati Agnihotri, a member since the 1980s, and he joined the Theosophical Society in the year 2008. He was a founder member of T.S. Pragya Lodge and TOS Maitri Group in Lucknow. Given the duty of the National Lecturer of the Indian section of the TS since 2016, he has conducted study camps, seminars, youth camps, public lectures on theosophical subjects and holistic health all over India in theosophical lodges and schools and colleges. He has been conducting online sessions, Fundamentals of Theosophy, Holistic Living, for the last 2 years for graduation students as a faculty of the value-added course started by Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, that is in Varanasi. He has published articles in national, international magazines in Hindi, English, and translations into French and Spanish. You know all that?
Translate.
Given the duty of the international speaker of TS Adyar since 2019, he has delivered talks in various international theosophical forums online and offline since then. He started a YouTube channel, Pragya CA Studio, in May 2020 with his wife Katlina. She's expected any time now, to make theosophical teachings accessible to as many as possible in many languages. Currently, he is unable to publish new material due to other responsibilities. He has created the online platform of Young Indian Theosophists during the pandemic time for young Indian members, non-members to meet and study regularly. At present, he is volunteering in the administration office as executive assistant to the general manager and residing with family at the international headquarters of the Theosophical Society in Adyar. He says in this way, he tries to implement theosophical principles and teachings in daily life. He writes in bracket, often without success, but not giving up.
Without success.
Because strongly, intuitively, he believes that there is no other path to go. This is the path. Theosophy is the path. Shikar.
Thank you, Mr. Ramkumar. And on the last line, it was often without success. Tries to implement theosophy, but often without success instead of with success. And good afternoon, everyone. Dear and respected President, Mr. Timboy, Lily Boyji, and all the sisters and brothers. Thank you for the kind words, Mr. Ramkumar. A lot of it was not in the write-up that I gave you, but still happy to hear all those things. And thank you, Theosophical Society and Mr. Ramkumar, to give me this opportunity to share some thoughts, views, some understandings from this platform of wisdom for living. But before we go into this subject, I would like to invoke that Guru principle which is teaching us all the time. Om Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Good evening once again. And although I would say that I have been fortunate enough to be able to attend most of the Wisdom for Living sessions in the past, except for few sessions when I am not here in town, so I could not attend. But I must say that today it feels a bit different, a lot different rather. And the difference being that in all those earlier sessions of Wisdom for Living, I was positioned on the other side of the podium and having to speak very few words, if at all, while giving introduction to the speaker or giving thanks to the speaker on few occasions. And while sitting there, what I saw and heard makes me a bit hesitant today in so many ways when I am here on this side of the podium to speak for a longer duration. Because what I saw and heard while sitting there during all these sessions are the individuals who are experts, kind of experts in their respective fields, which Mr. Ramkumar just mentioned, whether it is spirituality or social service, medicine, astronomy, even yoga, healing, artificial intelligence, even humor, and even finances, and the list goes on and on and on. But I don't feel myself in any way any expert in any field. At the most, what I can say about myself is that I'm a student of Theosophy. And so, I was not sure what I can possibly share with all of you, the learned and august audience, that you would already not know. But of course, since we have the session here, I have to speak, so I have to share something. But not just something or anything, something should be of value to you, to me, for everyone. And so obviously, I turned to something, after giving it a lot of thought, I turned to something that has not only proven to be of value to me personally, but also the far-reaching positive effects of which can be seen throughout the world in the last 150 years. And that is Theosophy. But just a clarification, Theosophy is ageless. It has always been there, it is, and it will always be there. But it is the Theosophical Society, the vehicle of Theosophy in the modern era, the 150th anniversary of which we are celebrating this year. So what better subject than Theosophy to share with you? Although you may find a lot of things being repeated, restated, but I think that is also something not only necessary but also needed, because revisiting the fundamentals, revisiting the basics is very important to assess the current situation and take the next steps. But even after thinking or deciding upon to talk about theosophy, I had a difficult time to finalize what to talk about, because theosophy is like ocean of knowledge. It talks from, it is said, everything is theosophy. Theosophy is everything, but not everything is theosophy. It talks about human beings, God, universe, plants, animals, minerals, visible, invisible worlds, planes of consciousness, and whatnot. And so much that, leave aside this session, even one lifetime may not be enough to really grasp what theosophy has to offer. And so after giving it a lot of thought, I realized the best approach, as I said, for today's session is to go back to the basics, which means two things in this context. First, highlighting one of the many purposes, as far as I understand, due to which this Wisdom for Living series initiative was started, and try to go deeper into what is wisdom, what is living, what is truth. Because wisdom, truth go hand in hand. But all of this we are going to do in the light of theosophy. Because it has been almost 2.5 years since this initiative has been going on successfully, initiated by the Theosophical Society and organized by Mr. Ramkumar, bringing in individuals from varied disciplines and from various backgrounds, careers, professions, coming here and sharing their thoughts with us. And so I think it is a good time to revisit the purpose of this series, at least one of the purposes that I can highlight, and its value in our daily lives. And that is, I think most of us must have observed that the human mind, or the brain, which is the seat of intellect, has been given a lot of importance and significance and prominence in our way of living. But the seat of wisdom, which is the heart, seat of compassion or love, is often we find is ignored. And that is the reason due to which we have inherited a planet with so many different kinds of challenges. Violence in so many different forms that we cannot even imagine that happens. Global ecological crisis, even to the extent of existential crisis of the planet that is happening. Information and knowledge is given so much importance without their moral and ethical compass that we are going in the direction of very inhuman condition. We have found the ways to go to Mars, but we are still not able to find our way to the heart of our neighbor, or for that matter, even our own heart. The size of the houses is getting bigger and bigger, but the pettiness attached to it is really striking. And atomic power was discovered, but what was it first used for? We all know that. Modern medicine is making really headway in the direction of innovation and everything, but at the same time the race of bioweapons is going on. And when COVID, which is the pandemic of a century, hits humanity, what happens? The companies which make vaccines, they price it at such a high level, at such a high price, that millions and millions of people could not afford it. So, material material gains have become such an important aspect or in the name of success that we are really forgetting to be real, that we are humans. And it is a pity, rather very sad reality, that a law is to be enforced to remind us of our humaneness. I think we all know about the law of corporate social responsibility. I mean, a law has to be made that, okay, whatever profits you are earning, you have to share it in the welfare of the society. Which earlier was quite different, that people used to share it, voluntarily. And okay, religion also has, every religion has some part that of your income you share it with, with everyone. So it is really time to consider a different way of living, wisdom for living, in which the heart and mind are balanced. They have their own value, they have their own importance for living daily life, until and unless they are in balance. And it's not only me who is saying that. James Gustav Speth, he is an environmental lawyer and advocate, co-founder of Natural Resources and Defense Council, and he said that I used to think the top environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. And I thought that with 30 years of good science, we could address these problems, but I was wrong. The top environmental problems he named here: selfishness, greed, apathy. And to even more interesting thing he says, and to deal with those, we need a spiritual and cultural transformation. And we lawyers, he's a lawyer, and scientists don't know how to do that. This is coming from, not from a person living in a monastery or following a spiritual path, or, he is like a person living just like us in the world, observing the things, and this is his wisdom coming out, or his understanding coming out. So that is one of the very important, although this is a very little step, Wisdom for Living in lecture series, but no matter how long the journey is, we have to start with the first step. And this is kind of there are several steps taken by Theosophical Society. This is one of the steps initiated 2.5 years ago. And the second thing, so now we know that we are going to talk about this, so how to go about it? And for this purpose, on a lighter note, I didn't want to put you all to sleep by giving a lecture of 1 hour on metaphysical philosophy. So, I'm sorry, it's not that I don't trust, that all of you will be very interested, but I am not capable of continuing speaking on that subject for so long. So, let us use one of the several tenets of theosophical teachings, the tenet which is not only just a way of living, but also it is the way in which all of us start learning. And that way is the way of observing and asking questions. In other words, we can say the spirit of inquiry. But this spirit of inquiry has is little different than maybe a normal spirit of inquiry, and I'll be using a lot of statements by people because this is also in the way I'm telling you about theosophy, those people who do not know. So, theosophical spirit of inquiry, what's so unique about it? And Colonel Olcott, one of the chief founders of the Theosophical Society, he said, the very air of theosophy is charged with the spirit of inquiry. It is not the skeptical spirit, nor is it agnostic, because what happens many times, we are not looking for the answers. We just want to ask questions, either to upset the person there or just to put our point across. We don't want to know the answer. We are not interested in answer, but we go on doubting everything. The doubt is useful, but it is when it is used as a tool. But when it becomes a very heavy armor, it becomes a burden. So we should know the limit until when, because there is also comes a stage in the spiritual traditions of faith and intuitive understanding. But so this is not that spirit of inquiry. Neither it is of the nature of an agnostic person who thinks that no, nothing of that can be understood. It is unknowable. So no matter what you do, it is unknowable. No. So what is it? It is real desire to know and learn the truth as far as it is possible for each and every one of us, and whichever way we want. And it is that which has raised the Theosophical Society above the level of all other aggregations and organizations of men, human, I will just rephrase the word, and which, so long as its members abstain from dogmatizing, must keep it on an altogether higher plane. So, spirit of inquiry with an open mind, with a desire to learn and know the truth. And therefore, we'll follow this process of questioning rather than a lecture, and let us take a journey of exploration together towards something that is the most valuable, which is of the most importance, not only just to me, to you, but for everyone or every life form in this manifestation, the most important thing. If I say that thing is to be free from suffering. Now, when I'm using the word suffering, freedom from suffering, normally the word suffering, we think that someone is in deep agony or, crying, and no, suffering I am using in the sense from the minutest discomfort that can shake the inner harmony to the extreme anguish that one feels and can take certain drastic actions, anything in between, any kind of dis-ease that one may feel. It can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, moral. It can be attached to unsatisfied desire. It can be fear. It can be attachment to something that keeps changing and I don't want it to change. It can be something that I possess and want to secure it, but there is no security in life. So any sort of that discomfort that may shake us, I am using the word, so because I think nobody wants that. And the whole, actually, if we go back, the journey towards spirituality starts from this, that freedom from suffering. Siddhartha Gautama sees an old man, a sick person, and a dead body, and immediately he said, no, I have to find a solution. And that turned his life in another direction. And so, freedom, and that is what also, again, I would quote Colonel Olcott, he says, what is of the most value is to know the whole secret of human beings' existence and destiny. Why? So that we may live in a way to ensure the greatest happiness and the least suffering for our fellow humans and ourselves. Not just for me, but for our fellow beings as well. And that is what we are going to talk about, but not in the conventional sense. As I said, I'm not giving a lecture. Now we are coming to that stage. I'm not going to tell any secrets of happiness or 10 steps to bliss or how to manage your stress or something, nothing of that sort. We are going to ask some questions. That why is it so? Why does it happen like that? Why am I why I become stressed? Why I become unhappy? And we'll try to go in the root of it and how it relates with truth and wisdom. Because it's very ironical that everyone in this world wants happiness, but everyone is unhappy except those few who have found a way to go beyond that. So, and that's the majority of the case. Stress has been defined as the epidemic of the 21st century, especially in youngsters. So, I mean, is there something wrong with our way of living? If few products in a factory, like 5 out of 100, are not good quality, it's acceptable. But if 95 products of a factory are faulty, it means there is some setting in the factory that is wrong. That needs to be corrected. A course correction has to be done. So, somebody thinks, if I get money, I'll be happy. If I get power, I'll be happy. If I get popularity, or if I get possessions, I will be happy. So, and everyone is going in that direction, although facing a struggle, but with what hope? If I get more money, I will be happy. If I get more power, I'll be happy. So this cycle of more, there is nothing wrong in that from their point of view. And why is that? Let us see a picture here, and I want your feedback. I mean, what do you think when you see this picture? I know I've been speaking a lot. I mean, what do you think? Just quickly.
Everybody on its own perspective is seeing the picture.
Everybody is seeing this tree with the fruits with their own perspective. Yeah. So, which means same object, but different perceptions. Some of them I was not able to include. There is an ant, which may think it has a safe surrounding for home and food, a bird, a monkey, a snake, a child, a tired human traveler. A builder may be there who may be thinking, oh, let's cut it down and make an apartment and earn some money. A timber contractor also may think the same. A botanist, it may be a subject for study and experiment, and maybe if a village person is there, they may think of it as a tree god which gives them fruit and shade, and so worship it. There is not a question of right, wrong, good, bad. The concept behind this is the object is same. The situation coming in our life, or one situation is there, but different people perceive it differently. Two people can have the injury, small injury. One person can be like very casual about it, put some ointment and it's okay. But another person may be, oh, I got injury, and start crying and wailing, and I want this, and it's not something that we are not aware of. It keeps happening. So what does it mean that different people see the things or the reality, so to say, in a different manner, and that is why I think money will give me happiness, so I'm working for it. Somebody else may think differently. But there have been wise people who have either gone beyond suffering or on the path to truth, and they also say something, but in a different manner. Before I come to that, so basically the whole manifestation is subject-centric. So subject-centric means I-centric. My life is governed by what I think, I like, I dislike, I want to get this, whatever, right? So without even knowing who this I is, and when I don't know the origin of the want or ambition or whatever fear or whatever emotion, I just start working on them to get rid of them, instead of asking, why is it happening? and work on the root of it without having an understanding. So how the two can meet, because all my concentration focus is outside, to change the circumstances outside, to change the objects, to change the positions I have, without knowing who is, controlling from within. So unless we are in the right direction, the happiness, harmony, health will elude us. But let us see what some others have said, that it means not knowing the truth is causing suffering. I am seeing the things as per my point of view. And although it is giving me pain, but still I am continuing with it. So what does somebody like Colonel Olcott has again said? Ignorance causes suffering, the root cause, because it makes us prize what is not worth prizing. Grieve for that we should not grieve for. Consider real what is not real, but only illusory. And pass our lives in the pursuit of worthless objects, neglecting what is in reality the most valuable. And that is what the cause of suffering, as per many of the wise people who have, whether you take it yoga, or Vedanta, or any esoteric discipline, ignorance or avidya is told to be the root cause of suffering. But what is truth then? Normally when we say truth, okay, speak the truth. That's what we understand, truth. But truth, the meaning of that word is something that which holds steady, that which can be trusted, that which exists. That is the truth, reality or essence, and many words are being added to that. But basically something that is. Because suppose we say only the Parabrahma is the reality. So what about this mic, speaker, laptop? Are these not truth? But there comes the concept of relative truth and absolute truth. The very definition of it, that something that holds steady, that which can be trusted. If something is changing, can it be trusted? And that's why if we see the thing that lasts for the longest duration is considered the truth, the reality. Because anything below it, whether we call it a plane of consciousness, physical, astral, mental, whatever those will be, it is said that they have a time duration, and after that all of them dissolve. And levels of dissolution, durations of dissolution, but there is something that always exists, eternal. So that's what the truth is. So then the question is, what does other wise people, in this case let's say Gautama, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, what does he see in this world? He says the entire world is in flames, the entire world is going up in smoke, the entire world is burning, the entire world is vibrating. This was his perception of this world, where you and I are seeing things, forms, objects, pleasures, pain. And 100 years ago, this wouldn't be, quite completely impossible. But imagine, since this modern science came to this energy mass transformation, theory of relativity, quantum physics, atom, size of atom, the vibration, wave and particle uncertainty. Yes, the whole world is vibrating. We are seeing the forms. We think this is a form, but the real space that the whole of atoms that may really take, it is said, can come on the tip of the needle. But still, I see this form. So this is the truth for me, but not for Gautama Buddha. he came up with the Four Noble Truths. For him, these are the truths which people follow and try to live their life according to them. The truth of suffering, the cause, cessation, and there is a path to it. Then there are other truths which are called Mahavakyas in Upanishads. That Brahman is consciousness, and it is even said, I am Brahman, you are Brahman, everything is Brahman, this self is Brahman. So somebody is seeing that everything is Brahman. Then, if they are seeing this truth, why not am I able to see that? So let us come to then, how do we know the truth? What are the tools we have to know the truth? How do we perceive anything that is? Anyone?
Intuition.
Intuition? Okay, very good.
Senses.
Huh?
The senses.
Senses? Physical senses? Questioning? Okay, since time is less, so I will move quickly. But the primary source of knowing is our senses. But senses only take the thing, vibrations, and convey to our mind. So even other things, if you see here, physical senses, logic, memory, faith, emotion, testimony, gut feeling. Apart from physical senses, everything, and except for gut feeling, everything else belongs to somehow to the mind, right? Logic, memory, faith, emotions are also have a little bit of mind aspect, and testimony. Somebody has said, the guru has said that, so this is the truth. Gut feeling, we all know, sometimes happens. But if I were to ask you, are there any limitations to these tools of perceiving the truth? Are there? They are subjective. But limitations of the tools. I say the sky is blue. Is it?
No.
No? Right? No. The sky is not blue. I say I am seeing the sun. Am I seeing the sun? Or am I seeing the sun 8 minutes 20 seconds ago? Because the light from the sun reaches to earth in 8 minutes 20 seconds. So what I am seeing actually is the sun that was 8 minutes 20 seconds ago. Not now. I see the twinkling of the stars. Do the stars twinkle?
No.
No.
What about sunrise?
What about
Sunset?
sunrise, sunset?
Happens, but
Yeah,
no.
we know. But is the sun rising or is the sun setting? No. So basically what means, and also about hearing. We cannot hear subsonic or supersonic sounds. We cannot see infrared, ultraviolet rays. So basically all these tools that we just discussed, apart from what Mr. Ramkumar said, intuition, we have not yet discussed intuition, have certain limitations. So how accurate will be the truth that we get from these? Right? Oh, sorry. So let us have some fun. I know maybe it's being very heavy. So let us have some fun. And I'm going to show you some images. And you tell me, what do you see? Okay? Let us see. What do you see? Quickly.
Rabbit.
Rabbit. Okay. What about the duck? Huh? Both. Okay. So first you saw the rabbit, then you saw the duck. Now we see the both. Right? Okay. Okay, I'm not going into the details about these images because we'll take some time. Now, little difficult. What we see?
Two faces in a vase.
We see a vase. We see two faces. Okay. So we see two faces and we see the vase. Okay. Very good. Now a little difficult. What do we see? Old lady and young lady. Everyone see? Okay.
Okay, this is the cap and this is the young lady. Right? And this is the nose of the old lady.
Perceptions are not there in the face.
And the title of this image is very interesting. Can anybody guess what is the title of this image?
Perceptions are not real.
My wife and mother-in-law. That was done by William Hill in recreation. And okay. But now let us go even one step more difficult to see how our senses deceive. Now, I would not say deceive, but they have limitations. Let's see what do we see here. Now be very careful, because if once you see that, you cannot, reverse it. Let's see. What do you see? A dancer turning
Clockwise.
clockwise. Huh? No, what do you see? That's all I am asking.
A dancing.
Clockwise?
Clockwise.
Anti-clock. Okay. What about this?
First clockwise, then clockwise.
This is anti-clockwise.
This is anti. Okay. Anti and clock both. Okay. So you see, and what is this actually? All three animations are nearly identical. It's fascinating. It shows the experiment that how, because in the single letter you see the L and the R, left leg and the right leg. You concentrate on that letter and you will see them change their directions. So they remind us that perception is innately subjective. The same thing can be viewed from different viewpoints. And one last one in this category, which shows how the whole world surrounding us, or we get caught up in this thing. I think all of you might have seen this, right? Sorry. Okay. So, what we started as a straight line motion, now somehow we see a circle moving around. Yes, but of course, if we see this image first, the most likely outcome will be that a circle is moving around. But if we go back to the origin, we can make out that it's actually a straight line motion. So why I felt like sharing this, to just demonstrate, we know that our senses are like that, but really, if we see small things, we are getting deceived, and we are not deceived again. Limitation, and based on that limitations, what do? We make opinions. We judge people, and we have arguments or whatever, a lot of things after that. So then, is there any other tool that we have to know the truth? Wisdom. Scientific process also has its limitation, because it cannot go beyond the physical, what the scientific tool can observe, right? It has whatever the limitation of the tool is, that is the limitation of scientific observation. And slowly the scientific equipments, their limitations have increased over a period of time. But it will still take a lot of time to catch up when we can see, because again, since I'm talking about theosophy, C.W. Leadbeater and Annie Besant discovered, there is a book called Occult Chemistry, the structure of atom, way before than the scientists did, through their inner power. And everything is documented in that book if somebody wants to read. But cutting the long story short, the inner faculty, there is something more, because again, we are in the times where mind is considered to be the highest faculty, to know something, to judge, to take decisions, everything. But we saw how deceptive, first of all, the senses can be and the mind can be. We'll come to that quickly. So it means there must be some faculty or tool which is higher than mind. And we are calling it wisdom here. And what is this wisdom? The quality of or state of being wise. And I searched on Google and everything, but that is, really it confuses a lot, because whether it is cleverness, intellect, knowledge, intelligence, wisdom, all the words are used interchangeably. So it is very easy to get confused. But what here Dr. I.K. Tammany says is very important. Normally when we say somebody is wise, what do we mean? That the person takes good decisions and a lot to learn and in the professions and everything. But he says that it is unfortunate that they are colored, our ideas about wisdom are not quite correct and colored by popular conceptions. We generally think it is merely the maturity of judgments and capacity to order our lives properly, which comes from long and varied experience. So someone can be very skillful in a particular job, but it does not necessarily means wisdom, but wisdom as it is understood in occultism is something quite different. Because with experience, like on the ships I was working, so the more experience you had, more you knew the oceans, the weather conditions, the everything, so you can take very good decisions.
And they're changing all the time.
You know everything, because if you are going from in this time of the year from this place, you can expect that kind of weather, all those kind of things. But that is a skill. So let us differentiate between a skill and wisdom. So what is wisdom? I searched, and it was quite interesting that most of those meanings came close to see. In English, wisdom comes from vis, means to see, to know. Greek, it is Sophia. That's why Theosophia, divine wisdom. But in Latin, it was especially interesting. It derives from, it comes close to sapientia, which meant to taste or to discern. And I think everybody might have heard that story in the Bible when Adam and Eve tasted the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Taste. So comes from there. Knowledge means again to discern between right and wrong. And that's why we are also called Homo sapiens, that is the wise human, the current stage of evolution of human beings. Again, there are other words which come close to wisdom, like buddhi, to awaken, to know, or prajna, which means intuitive wisdom, direct insight, or something higher than mere mind. And intuition, as Mr. Ramkumar said earlier, that is beyond the rational mind, and it is considered a direct perception of truth. That is, there is no barrier. That faculty works in a way that there is no barrier of the senses, of the mind, and if that is the case, it leads to truth. And that is why, very interestingly, if you see, in Indian tradition, philosophy is called darshan. And darshan means to see, which is a way of seeing reality. Philosophy means love of wisdom. And it is translated as darshan, means a way of seeing in which we see the truth. And we all know the 6 schools of philosophies in Indian philosophy. I'm not going to that. But what H.P. Blavatsky says about this, she says that the opened eye is the inner spiritual eye, because we are, you see, seeing is among the senses, seeing is one of the very important primary sense that gives us a lot of information immediately. And that is why even this is called inner seeing. And that's why she says the inner spiritual eye of the seer, and the faculty which manifests through it is not clairvoyance as ordinarily understood, which in the word may be considered very important, or people go after clairvoyance and make a lot of business about it, but rather the faculty of spiritual intuition through which direct and certain knowledge is obtainable. That is the most important part. Direct and certain, that there is no doubt, no possibility of doubt about that. And that is why all these words, wisdom, prajna, insight, intuition, buddhi, Dr. I.K. Tamini says that it is attained when our mind is completely irradiated by the light of buddhi, and the insight which can pierce through the illusions of life, the unerring knowledge which begins to flow into our mind from within. And here also we come with the concept of Maya. That is why when Adi Shankaracharya says Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, so he is seeing from this faculty that yes, things are seeming to be as what they are, but actually they are not. He is not saying that this microphone does not exist. But what he is saying, that our way of looking at it is not correct. Because everything is Brahman, but we have given certain qualities, certain ideas to that thing, to that form, and the error in that is mithya. And that from there comes the word Maya, which means to measure, to form. So anything that becomes a form is the potential to create an illusion. And no wonder then why in the Theosophical Society emblem, if you see, it is written, there is no religion higher than truth, or Satyan Nasti Paro Dharma, because nothing higher than truth. That is the ultimate destination, because anything below that is a compromise with reality. And that is why also in the 3 objects of Theosophical Society that we see, the universal brother of humanity, that is a fact, that is the truth that already exists in nature, but we are not able to see due to the mind-created prejudices of sex, creed, caste, color, and race. And how to do that? The third one, if you see, the unexplained laws of nature and powers latent in a human being. This is the power that we are talking about, power of wisdom, love, compassion, and intuition, not some magical powers or extrasensory powers that will only lead in a wrong direction, but the power of knowing oneself, of wisdom, and then knowing the truth of the universal brotherhood of humanity. So even the objects of the Theosophical Society are in that sense complementary, and it is about this faculty that HPB says. Now this is very interesting. She says it is the only faculty by means of which human and things are seen in their true colors, and it is our duty to keep alive in humans is spiritual intuitions. Why? And I always share this thing whenever there is an opportunity, and I'm going to ask it again, that how many people are there when 2 people meet? One. Anyone more?
1 million.
1 million. Okay, sir, that is beyond my. Okay, not to waste any time, I would say 6. Yeah. How? When I'm meeting somebody, I have an image of that person in my mind. That person has an image of me in his mind, too. I have an image about myself in my mind. That person has an image of himself or herself in their mind, 4. And the person who I really am, without any images. And the person that person really is, without any images, 6. Now we think, do we ever really meet somebody? Right? So this is what she's saying, that when we see in the true color, so we really know that, that's what, J. Krishnamurti also says, meeting somebody is like fresh. But it does not mean that you forget, because it cannot be forgotten, something that has happened. But not giving any emotional impulse or attachment to that thing what happened. Yes, somebody betrayed me earlier, okay. So now when I'm meeting, of course, I may not be trusting somebody blindly. I would take all the normal precautions that anybody would take. But if I am feeling enmity, anger, hatred, or what all things, then I am actually hurting myself. So that is what the mind does. And so how does wisdom work? Also, let us see that also. How does wisdom, tell us the truth? It's really interesting.
Wisdom is actually knowledge and experience put together is called wisdom in many cases.
Not necessarily. Experience, that's what we discussed. A person can have a wide experience about a particular profession, even a particular way of life, but not necessarily the collective life. But again, time.
You can just go on.
I can go on, no, but people may want to leave. Have you ever heard, I think everybody must have heard, look at the bigger picture? Very famous phrase, looking at the bigger picture, or think out of the box. Right? What does looking at the bigger picture mean?
Change your frame of reference.
Yeah, but what does it do?
Looking at the macro level.
It's the focus concept.
Then we are able to see the whole. If I am in the frame, I am not able to see the whole. And if I step out of the frame, I am able to see the whole. I see the connections, interconnections, the root causes and everything. And from that, stepping out, the understanding, the seeing of this comes, and immediately a solution comes in a flash of a problem or anything which has happened to so many scientists also, they in dreams or visions or whatever. So that's what Sri Krishna Prem, Yogi Sri Krishna Prem, he says, that it is the intuition which grasps all connections and grants us the vision of wholeness. And when the chariot is driven according to it, no harm can ever come to it, because it will be driven. Because then it is not, I am not the person running the show. It is the cosmic harmony in which there can and will be no mishap. And this is the very famous image that we all see here. Symbolically studied, Krishna is that intuition, buddhi or wisdom. And Arjuna is the mind. And the chariot is our body with senses. So it is the Krishna who is driving, if Krishna is driving. If we let Krishna or that Christos or Christ consciousness drive our life, then there can be no mishap. Mishap also doesn't mean that life will become rosy, by the way. Things will come, but then we'll have an understanding of it, we can deal it in a much better way. The same thing Adi Shankaracharya also said, that it is the faculty that enables one to realize the unity of individual self with the universal self. And that is the state of non-duality. That is also a way of learning the truth by being one with the object. When subject and the object become one, that universal brotherhood of humanity is not only at the level of the mind, it is at the level of realization that there is no duality. And this again is a very interesting word we read, vairagya, right? Dispassion, desirelessness, and we have to practice it. But if you see here, vairagya, there are two ways that you can dissect it. Vi and rag, and vi, ranj and niya. The first one is desirelessness, which is without attachments. Raga means attachment. So you practice detachment or non-attachment. But I think vairagya is a result. Without color. When we see the things without any color, when we see and color here means all those images that we talked about by the mind, all the prejudices, all the conditionings, when I begin to see the life without any such color, it is bound to happen. Because when we see everything that is born has to die, no matter how much I secure myself, the insecurity comes. If I have secure bank balance, maybe something will come in the relations. If I have secured everything in the relations, maybe in the medical, or I don't know. There are a million kinds of insecurities. We cannot go on securing everything. So when we begin to see this, non-attachment is an automatic consequence of it. And so what is the barrier then in seeing the truth, coming to close to the end? For knowing what is the barrier, we need to know what is a human being. What is a human being?
Bunch of contradictions.
Sorry?
Bunch of contradictions.
Bunch of contradictions, yeah. That is part of it. Okay, again, quickly. As what we study in Theosophy, human being is just a state, it's a rung on the ladder of evolution. That's all, nothing much, nothing less.
Microcosm.
There is an evolution going on, and human being is just a rung on that ladder. But what is the uniqueness of this rung? That there is a spirit, there is a matter, which is connected by the mind consciously in human state, human condition. And that is why human state of evolution is given so much importance in religious texts, philosophical texts, spiritual texts, everywhere, that this is the moment. Either utilize it for accelerating or retard it. Your own and collective evolution. And this mind, although it gives us an opportunity, but it also has something disadvantage, which HPB says that mind is like a mirror. It gathers dust while it reflects. It needs the gentle breezes of soul wisdom to brush away the dust of our illusions. And I cannot stop myself from sharing one couplet of Ghalib, Mirza Ghalib, one Urdu poet. He says, उम्र भर गालिब गलती यही करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी मैं आईना साफ करता रहा. Which means Ghalib, addressing to himself, that the whole life I made the same mistake again and again. The dust was on my face and I was cleaning the mirror. So the same thing happens. In any interaction we are very quickly to blame, quickly to judge, quickly to argue. But we need to step back and see what is inside me. If somebody is becoming the agent to bring out the anger in me, it means the anger is in me. The person is just bringing it out. It is already in me. Or hate or jealousy or positivity or depression, whatever, it's already in there. So that is why she says that mind is the slayer of the real. With all these things we cannot see the real. So let the disciple slay the slayer means these images, not the mind. Okay, now coming to last. Do we really want to be wise, or do we really want to know the truth? This is a big question. And if we want, with how much intensity do we want? Because that also plays a very important role in our life. And disciple, and this story goes on in different forms, in different disciplines, that a person goes to the guru, says, I want to know the truth or wisdom. And he takes the disciple to the river and puts his head under the water and hold him there, and until the person is gasping, and until the last moment before becoming unconscious, he takes him out and asks the student, what were you thinking or wanting when your head was in the water? He said, I wanted air, I wanted to breathe, that's all. So then he says, when you want the wisdom or truth like that, it will happen. With that intensity, when you want, it will happen. And that is why the cleansing of the mind is to be done, as HPB just said, of cleansing of the mirror. And there are million ways to do that. I'm not going to tell you here which way to follow, not to follow. You may follow some of them, you may follow none of them, you may follow all of them, but there are millions of them. Actually, it is said that as many people are there, as many ways are there. So for every person, it can be different thing, combination of that. But one thing I would like to suggest, and definitely it's a book that I would like to everyone to read. And that is the most important book that we can ever read. And that is the book of life. The book of our life. Because nobody else can read it for me. Everyone is different, everyone is unique. Nobody else has the copyright or copy of this book. Only I can read my book in the best possible manner. But how? That is the most important thing. We read it in a manner that from the interactions, events, what we get are pearls of wisdom and not the stones of prejudices. That is what will lead us towards the way of truth, wisdom, knowing the truth and the wisdom arising out of it. And that, if you see, the concept of forgiveness is based on that. No matter what forgiveness is, letting go of the image that somebody hurt me or somebody did wrong to me. That is why forgiveness or sense of gratitude, that is like that. And once we understand the truth, contentment and peace, transformation of suffering happens. And if I were to blame someone now, instead I do introspection. If I used to complain before, I express gratitude. And if I saw something as a problem earlier, now I see it as an opportunity, that it has come in my life to make me stronger, to make me a better person, or to do it. It has a purpose, and there is a reason it has come, and that is the best thing that can happen. So with this, I end this today's session, and I thanks once again the Theosophical Society, Mr. Ramkumar, to give this opportunity, and to all of you who listened very patiently. And yes, thank you all.
If you have any questions, please feel free to ask him. He's ready to answer those questions.
Best questions are the ones asked to oneself. So,
Isn't wisdom itself subjective because it's an offspring of the mind? Because without the mind there is no wisdom.
no, that's exactly what we discussed here in occultism or in spirituality. If you see, wisdom is not an outcome of mind. What is outcome of mind? What you are talking about, like a person has a vast experience and he's
Without the mind, without the consciousness.
no, mind is not the consciousness. I mean, it is a part. One part. There are several constituents of a human being. Mind is one of them, and there is higher faculties than mind also. So, yeah.
So, but is
Because
subjective?
yeah, it is subjective. And normally we say, I think, therefore I am. But think about, I am, therefore I think. So,
Has answered your question?
No, yeah.
Come to the next session, we will get the answer. No, you take it whatever you want. It's all about perceptions. You can perceive the way you want to perceive.
No, to be more specific, I wanted to know, wisdom itself is subject to the vagaries of subjectivism. It's also related. It's also.
No, the word wisdom here.
no, wisdom is subjective.
It also has the prejudices of the.
No, that's in the sense that's why we saw so many individuals that they were having a different perception. Why could Buddha see differently than I do? So yeah, so my wisdom is only limited to what I am at this moment. Yeah, so yeah, in that way it is subjective. Just like the truth is subjective. My truth is something else, your truth is something else. So in that way it is subjective, yeah.
Wisdom is silence. You tell. Wisdom is silence.
Okay, wisdom is silence.
Thank you, Shikar, for your wonderful talk. It was a very enlightening session. We all enjoyed it very much. Towards the end, it was very good, actually. You made a slow start. At the end was very good. You connected wisdom and the truth. Truth means so many things to so many people at so many different times. Truth means God, love, mercy, compassion. There's so many words you can attribute it to the word truth, I would say. What do you think?
Again, it's subjective.
Subjective. Got it. Yeah, on behalf of the Theosophical Society, let me present this through Dr. Shinde, Professor Shinde. Please.
Subjective
Wonderful,
under the veils of
wonderful lecture
Maya.
he gave.
Wisdom is subjective under the veils of Maya.
So one lecture and
I will feel very happy.